You know, some days I really do feel like a wind-up toy. I used to have one of those little like wind-up mice as a kid, the one where you would kind of turn the crank on the side and they would start running around like crazy. That's kind of the vibe I'm feeling today. Sometimes that's like feeling like I'm needing to get geared up for class. Sometimes that maybe means I'm needing to get geared up for life, needing to go get gas, needing to go get groceries, stuff like that. Today, I'm feeling it in a lifting context. We've got a laundry list of lifts to complete. We're adding one to the end of our usual 6. So we've got 7 full complete reps today, or full complete exercises today, which is going to be pretty taxing, especially during kind of like a sleepy type of morning. Things have been getting a little colder lately, so it's going to be pretty taxed movements. But we're back on our grind of 10 pull-ups. The stretched day of back and biceps has informed me a lot of what I want to do stretched. I think we're going to change to the alternate hammer curls because there was an interesting pull there. I think I want to be somewhere in the middle with preacher curls. I think keeping my heavy grind with chest supported rows and lat pull downs are still the way to go. And to finish it off, I think doing decently with rear delt rows. I think keeping it at the 70 or whatever I had it at is also a good mechanism for growth. So a lot of things to experiment with for biceps, a lot of sameness with back, and then also traps today because I skipped that on the chest day. So yeah, that's about what the outlook of the workout looks like. And I'm feeling like I'm being wound up. I'm being wound up and I'm needing to go as fast as possible before I drain, before I run out of battery. Okay, that's probably the most in control I've had of those reps. I'm really, really happy with that set. And now we're gonna see how much wound upness I can take into it. Okay, we did some light arm movement, did some light arm stretching, kind of get my arms fired up and ready. My ankle's getting itchy sometimes though. Sometimes when I'm putting a bunch of strain on myself and I haven't especially because I'm getting up first thing in the morning, sometimes when I put a bunch of strain and my body's like, whoa, I get itchy in some places. I know that's what certain pre-workouts and stuff do, but maybe it's like natural pre-workout flooding my body. I get these itchy spots I just can't scratch, but hopefully doing more exercises will kind of nullify that weird itch, I guess. Whew. My lats got really tired out on that one. I don't really know what that was about. I'm gonna go for that last rep because maybe it was just I went in without as much rest period. Okay, this is a much better rep. I think I went into it a little too quickly and I was running out of steam pretty easily. So I need to make sure I gauge myself when I'm doing these and do reps that are kind of slowed so I don't burn myself out. Okay, it's probably an accurate statement to say that I'm gonna have to earn these last couple reps. I'm gonna really, really have to earn it. Arms are starting to get a little pumped up, ready for the back day. I've got more energy in my system, but pulls have been getting hard lately on the last couple reps, and especially gunning for 10, it's kind of like a high bar set. Because if I run out of steam about like 7 or 8, well then you're gonna be losing crucial range of motion throughout those last 2 reps. But the point is, I just want to get down and up. I just want to kind of force my chin over that bar because eventually very slowly, I'm going to start reaching that over the bar. I can get 9 full and complete reps, but that 10th one is always going to be a struggle. But if I keep working on it, it's not going to be a struggle as much the more and more I practice it. So, practice, don't preach. Okay, it's about as high as I could get for that 10th rep, but I'm still content with that because I'm still searching for that good range of motion throughout that 10th rep. So last workout, I definitely went for a very high rep, high interval form, a training where I went for 15 full reps of this new style of hammer curl I did where I go all the way at the very top and then have full extension at the bottom. And that's to get it past my chest and get a full stretch on my brachialis. And then work those peaks of the bicep, work the bicep pump on the way down and work my control. And hopefully working the control here will also start to activate a little bit more control when I do stuff like preacher curls. Or if I switch to bicep curls, which I'm kind of debating and I might try today, is just doing a complete good bicep curl. Because you can't go wrong with bicep curls. You always feel it 24/7. It's one of those universal workouts that everyone knows is kind of a good working set. But I really like the way this alternating hammer curl is. I forgot what it's called, but it's a specific name for it. It's a specific style. And I feel like the double benefit is very useful for me because I'm looking for benefit from hammer curls. And if I can get multiple muscle type of benefit, I feel like that's really good for me. So I bumped up the weight to 30 and I'm going for 12 reps of this. Oh man. I don't know if I can switch the weight. My arms got extremely exhausted on that. Okay. That was about like 6. I think I'm gonna try to go for 7, 8 on that. For some reason, when I got to the top, I couldn't switch it. I couldn't have that much control. Maybe the 30s are a little too much for me for now. Yeah, that was all I could do was 2 more reps. That's a very weird, interesting stress that I am not used to. Okay, now that I know that I can't get a full 12 reps, very, very interesting progress. Very interesting progress that I kind of got stuck. Like I could get it up, but I couldn't really turn my wrist all the way once I got to the top. I could only get like all the way here, and then the second I tried to turn, it was like, whoa, failure. But that's how I know like my true form right there. And I said I got like 7 to 8. I was counting weirdly in my head. I actually got around 10 with some scrappy reps, so that like true solid reps, it was only about 8. So I want to kind of shoot for 10 good solid reps this time because I feel like that was my limit last time. I think if I just keep an achievable but kind of high caliber number in the back of my mind, I feel like that's going to help me get a lot more depth out of my reps, because if I know that, I'm only like 2 reps away and I'm going to work probably a little bit harder than I would if I thought I had like 10 more reps left. So I'm keeping a good tracker in my head, a good counter of the stress I'm putting on myself. That was it. A little bit harder grip on the dumbbell handles and a little bit more focus on twisting at the very top of the rep. That was what was really helping me. Okay, last set of these curls. I think I want to shoot for 10 more. I need to put a little bit more speed on the workout because what time is it right now? It is like 7:45 and I need to be at class at 9:30. So I only have really an hour and 15 until it hits 9 and I really need to go back. And I have like 5 more workouts left. So I'm gonna have to maybe do like 2 set workouts or something to get a little bit more quickness to some of these sets. But at least for these first 2, working really good back, working really good biceps, I wanna do a full 3. So that's what I'm running. Full 3 sets for hammer curls right here. And I want 10 reps. Come on. Let the blood flow through the biceps. 2 more reps. Oh, it's not there. It is not there. 9 reps. That's all I can get till failure, even with the rest. Okay. They're definitely pumped up. Definitely pumped up. So I don't know if you've seen all those videos. Maybe see some short form, maybe see some reels where people are constantly glazing the crap out of the concept of 2 set workouts with intensity cranked up to like an 11. With intensity that kind of brings out the best in you, that's almost even better for your muscles compared to 3 set workouts. I don't know if I believe all the hype, but for the sake of time today, I'm gonna have to do 2 set very intense workout parts of my exercises. That was a really weird sentence. Let me start that up. I'm gonna have to do 2 sets of the same weight I normally do, but a little bit higher reps and a little bit more intensity, a little bit more gauging my endurance because I wanna make sure I get the most out of these reps. And to kind of keep on course, normally I only do 8 reps for this. Now I'm gonna try to do 12 of 230, which is gonna be a lot. When I'm trying to master 8 and I'm bumping up to 12, that's kind of an impossible ask. So the goal here is to failure or to 12 reps. And I'm wanting to bring out the best of my rows and I'm wanting to keep my chest attached to it, but I'm wanting to have like a very, very high level of intensity because that's what's gonna promote the most growth. I'll have a little bit decent rest period, but enough to keep me going good with time. So. Okay. Whew. Good intensity there. I'm gonna keep that up next set. I was honestly surprised by how decent that first set was in terms of rep-wise. I thought I would struggle just a little bit harder, but only having like a light break in between the last 2 reps and not feeling exactly out of breath from this. I want to bump the intensity up, and I want to try to get 12 full complete reps and see if my arms can kind of hack it and see if my arms can pull just as hard as I normally am. Of course, it's back strength that's really pulling, but it's my arms, my forearm grip that kind of was giving out a lot last set. So second set, final set for this, and continuing second set will be the final set for the rest of the workout. Bump up that intensity by a little bit. There it is. That's the intensity I'm looking for. That left me out of breath. That left me out of strength. Wow. In the spirit of pace, I'm also gunning this one until I'm out of breath. I'm also trying to push as hard as humanly possible with 250. 250, I've been managing it for 12 recently, so I don't know how much I can get past 12, but I want to shoot for around 14 to 15 reps. Now that's going to be a tall order. That's going to be a tall order, especially because in general, I just ran out of a lot of strength on pull-ups. I felt like pull-ups were very successful today, even though the last one I only got 9 instead of 10. But we're not talking about that. We're not talking about that. I'm talking about my lat strength, the isolated lat strength, specifically for lat pull-downs. It's going to be different. It's going to be, I don't know. Maybe let's just see what it's going to be instead of me talking about it. That was very much so. We're kind of half rep little pulls to failure, but an interesting stretch on my lats, an interesting stretch, definitely. Got a good little water break, and now I'm ready. Now I'm ready to pull a little bit harder. I really want to get more than half or like 2/3 reps for this, but I think the way I'm managing 250, it's just not really possible after the first 5 to pull beyond, and that's why I'm kind of working up with 250. But for the sake of this workout, it's just kind of about how much can I pull without really focusing too deeply on form. It's trying to get like a really good pump in before I have class. And some days, that's just the way I'm gonna have to gauge it. Some days it's not gonna be perfect premier form. Sometimes it's not gonna be, you know, quality that's good enough for a YouTube video. But it's the fact that I can even make a YouTube video at all that's promoting good progress in me. It's promoting me actually showing up. Like I got up this morning and it was hard. I like sat in my bed for 10 minutes, slowly sitting up, slowly staring at the ground, slowly getting out of bed and just leaning against the bed. And it's like, it's hard to make your way to the gym. And now that I'm here, it's hard to do the workout. And it's hard for me to have enough time to do the workout. But the way I'm adjusting it, it's about showing up at all. That's the important part. It's not about, you know, making everything perfect, making everything pretty, making everything good enough to be shown. Perfect progress doesn't exist, but progress does. Actionable progress where I'm doing the things, regardless of how I want it. Okay. 14 reps. I'm exhausted, but now that means it's time to go on and get this workout moving. Okay, quick splicing in something that's normally on my chest day, but I'm kind of thinking about moving it just slightly to my back day because it targets more back muscles anyway on my traps, my trap work with dumbbell shrugs. Now I feel like dumbbell shrugs single-handedly have saved my traps. I feel like they are a savior of a workout. I don't think I'll ever stop doing them because the second I started doing dumbbell shrugs, I didn't do it a specific way. I just wanted to shrug up. And now these things, these bad boys, these traps, have ballooned up so much that they're almost kind of eating, how do I do this? Eating over kind of onto the front of my frame to where it adds a little bit of size. It adds a little bit of like bulk to my neck where it's not too much. It's not like I'm looking like a roid monster, but it's enough to where a natural lifter like me can kind of have some bumped up progress and people be like, oh, this guy definitely lifts. And I've gotten compliments like that before, albeit sparingly. I'm not gonna brag and be like, I'm getting compliments all the time. Definitely not. But people who haven't really been around me that much and they see me, they're like, oh, does he go to the gym? And that's always a good compliment. Even if it's not a direct compliment, I always appreciate that. But yeah, traps are really it. And so I go heavy on traps. I work my way up to going heavy on traps. It also helps kind of prime my arms for heavier dumbbell movements. So I've got 80 pounds down here. Normally manage it for 12. I would go more reps, but I feel like I want 12 solid reps. I'm gonna do that for 2 sets. All right, 12 good reps. Felt like those were actually really good shrugs, all things considered. Well, these dumbbells are shining. I feel like if you don't get like a matte kind of texture to the dumbbells, you'll get some really, really shiny dumbbells because over time they kind of get worn down by, you know, just continual use in the gym. And so there's almost a sheen to them. There's almost a shimmer of like the rawness to them, the raw grit. Maybe a little evidence of chalk kind of breaks through that glossiness, but it's shining with kind of like these overhead fluorescent lights. It almost gives it like, this is the holy dumbbell shrugs, the holy dumbbells. You're gonna go crazy with these. It's so stupid. Shiny dumbbells. Maybe that's what I call the title of this video, is shiny dumbbells. I don't know. Yeah, 12 more reps. I felt like first set was really, really good because I was getting all the way up to kind of like trying to bring my traps to my ears, the point of shrugs. And you know, sometimes I've seen a bunch of varying advice, like shrug upwards and shrug backwards to get kind of reared up kind of work, kind of like get multiple things moving. Maybe only do like half shrugs and then do full shrugs to kind of like bring a variation to your shrugs. Now, in my case, I've only ever just shrugged upward. Maybe I've shrugged upward and kind of backward, but I've never been like up, back. I've never done something like that, and I don't really see the need to. If you can go heavier with just normally shrugging up, I feel like that brings a better emphasis to your traps than like shrugging up and back, because, I don't know. Maybe I'm not the best person to talk about gimmicky types of like lifts, because just a while ago I was doing a gimmicky type of lift of doing hammer curls and focusing on the decline. I don't know if I like that as much. The first time I did it, I really liked it. The second time, I'm a little bit more unsure. Needs more testing. And we need more testing, chat. Drop that weight, slip my hand. 2 more reps. Come on, high intensity. Yep. All right. Fingers are tingling. Fingers are tingling from that much strain, but those are pretty good reps. Okay, I kind of have a higher intensity bicep breaking movement by instituting 60s for 13 reps. I really want to work on like dragging my bicep all the way to the top. And like I know single arm work might help that a little bit more, but I like the dual arm action because I feel like pumping both the things up at the same time just makes more sense. It just makes more sense in my mind. And when I'm dynamically isolating my muscles, it feels like I have more control if I'm working both at the same time. And I don't know, it feels better to just have like heavier weight rather than just having maybe like a 30-pound dumbbell and working it on one side. Just having a full 60 and going to town on it, that feels a lot more natural, at least to me. But biceps, that's up to your individual preference. Although I know I said that I wanted to do kind of just normal bicep curls earlier, so might have to see about that. Might have to see about that next workout. But I made an executive decision to just keep things the same and do 2 reps. More weight, more reps. Okay, 13 solid reps of that. I felt like that was good progress. Alright, one more set of deep stretch biceps, and then it'll be time for me to transition on to rear delt rows, and then that'll be a complete 7 exercise workout, albeit focused on 2 rep exercises or 2 set exercises for most of it. But I felt like the intensity's been good with my 2 set exercises. I feel like the level of failure I've been taking at is good. So for this one, I'm taking it to complete failure. No rep kind of maximum, minimum of 13. Okay, 15 was my max on that. I think 15 is a pretty good weight. 15 is actually definitely a very enviable weight. Okay, rear delt rows certainly going to be pretty interesting because it's going to be pushing a lot out of me today. With high intensity rear delt rows, it's always a toss-up of how my arm strength is going to look, how it's going to look like pulling these things up a lot. And I want to go for 12 reps. I want to get 12 full reps on this, but my grip starts to give out, at least last time I checked on these, around the 9th or 10th rep. So can I maintain my grip knowing that I only have 2 intense strains of rear delt rows? I don't know. I really want to. I really feel like that would be a good intensity for me kind of finishing out this workout. And I'm feeling wound up, like that wind up mice example I was using earlier. I feel like I'm ready to go. I'm raring to go for these, so let's see what it looks like. maybe a little awkward on the pulling, but I held it the whole time. I held it together. So, one more of that. All right, got that sunrise flowing through me. It's definitely getting me hyped up to work really hard these last couple days before the weekend sets in. Oh, I'm gonna love this weekend. Oh, I'm gonna be a big fan of this weekend. But for now, I'm not focused on the weekend. For now, I'm focused on really good hard pulls of this. Now, I don't know if you'll notice. I don't know if you'll notice it on this one, but my grip tends to kind of slide up the dumbbell as I'm doing these. And that's kind of because I'm tilted a little bit forward. That's kind of a whole bunch of different reasons, but my grip starts to slide up. And that's when it's kind of a weird, janky pull because it's only pulling the front, what would you call this, front head of the dumbbell. It's only pulling one side of the dumbbell. And so I have to kind of adjust myself accordingly. I have to make sure that I'm trying to slide back or that I'm trying to pull up and through kind of a little bit backwards to make sure I get a full strain on my rear delt. So with grip, the point is try not to make it slide, but that's always difficult. So the main concern is just, can I get those 12 reps? And bye-bye dumbbells. The dumbbells have completely left to the other side of the gym. Oh well, that's okay. That's okay. Decent bit of strain on that last one. Not everything I hoped for, but at least that's pushing to failure. At least it's getting me to failure. Let's cut it to the talk. Okay, so I kind of halfway apologize for what you're about to watch. What you're about to watch is the worst basketball known to man. But tonight I was, I don't know, I was just raring to kind of shoot around, kind of just chill, do some light cardio where it's nothing crazy, just me practicing like dribbling and stuff and then making the worst shots ever. I mean, look at that. I'm just flinging stuff around without even like worrying about it. The ball was kind of pumped up, so it kept bouncing off of everything, but that made it easier to kind of practice dribbling and stuff. And, you know, basketball is something where I don't feel like a wind-up mouse. Basketball is something where it's like I'm not very good at it. I'm not trained in anything basketball related. I'd never played basketball as like a sport or anything, but it's just fun. It just feels like a release, you know? And sometimes with life, even with weightlifting in a small context, I mean, I'd say like 99% of the time I don't feel this way. 99% of the time weightlifting feels like a release. But sometimes it does feel like a wind-up just because I've been doing it for so long. I feel like if you have a passion, if you have something you really love and you've done it for a very, very long time, there's a part of you that sometimes will almost kind of register it as work sometimes. If there's nothing exciting to it, if you haven't changed your plan in a while, if you don't have a love for it the same as when you grew up with it, it might feel changed, you know? And I think that's just part of growing up. I just totally nailed that against the backboard. Don't rewind that and go watch that. If you find something that you love, sometimes it can feel like, you know, there's a science to it. There's something that you're practicing with it where there's no I don't know how to describe it. Maybe there's just a mechanicalness to it. It's not something that feels right, almost in a sense. It feels like, you know, it's not as fun as it used to be. And part of that is you need to make it fun. You need to make things dynamic. You need to change things every now and then and not get so crazed on progress. I mean, you need to have progress and you need to have stuff like calculated. Like in my context, I have a log where I track how much I lift all the time. I have a log where I track how, you know, my calories are going to kind of maintain kind of maintenance calories right now. A slow kind of decline. I'm just trying to shed 3 pounds very, very slightly, almost like 0.2 pounds every week. But, you know,
even me saying that 0.2 pounds, I'm thinking of this mechanically. I'm having my growth be very, very calculated because that's the way it has to be to get like really good performance. But when you start looking at it like that, like think about the people who don't track that stuff. Ignorance is bliss, to a degree. It's that type of mentality when you don't know something, when there's a discovery to it, when you're learning something for the first time. It really is a magic, and there's not a science to it. And so you're going to be more inclined to go engage with something if it's not forced upon you. Like, think about reading. I think this is how reading feels to a lot of people. When their mom or their dad or a teacher was yelling at them, you need to read this book, you have to do this, it didn't feel like a love. It didn't feel like you were gaining anything. It felt like it was just a chore. It was something you didn't want to do. But when you were driven, when your friend was like, hey, I found this really good book, I think you would like it, and you're like, oh, okay, I'll give it a shot, and you really get into it, and it's just because you feel inclined to do something like that, you love it. I mean, if you go to the library and you find a bunch of books, if you find some cool art book, if you find some type of new, I mean, in my case, I might find like a new manga or something that I'm like, whoa, I haven't seen this before. I'm going to be much more inclined to go after that comparatively to something where I'm just going through the motions to get an A in a class or something by reading a book. It's the same way in life. It's the same way in any pursuit. You can go so much farther than you think by making things dynamic, by making things not feel like a chore. In the gym, you want the consistent progress. You want to be going to the gym multiple days in the week, but you shouldn't think of like checking the days off like a checklist. You should think of just meeting the thing head on. You should be like, okay, I'm meeting chest day today, and I really want to get a prime stretch. I really want to do this different lift for my upper chest to kind of feel if it's different in a sense. And obviously still track it, obviously still have your progress, but throw in, an in-between. Throw in some stuff that you're not used to. Be okay to have bad days because that's where the fun is going to come in. That's where the energy and passion is going to come in. And your mental is just as important, maybe if not more important than your physical when you're growing, because it's your mental that's going to drive your physical progress. And in the same vein, your physical progress is driving your mental progress, because if you're just thinking about something but you're not actually doing it, if you're not actually physically putting that to work, you're never going to grow. So it really is just a yin yang. It's why I'm just going to continually keep stressing mentally and physically, because they both work in tandem. You can swap both of those, but they're both these two keys to success that not a lot of people are realizing or understanding in their daily lives. And it's the difference maker between what's going to make you feel like a wind-up toy and what's going to make you feel like you're actually achieving stuff, achieving things just day in, day out, putting the pedal to the metal, having continual progress, because you're not going to have progress if something doesn't feel fun, or if something just straight up isn't fun. Like, it's not fun to do chores, but maybe doing chores while talking on the phone to someone is fun. It's not fun to wash dishes or like shave and brush your teeth, but maybe if you're listening to music and vibing out, it might be easier. It's not fun to, do taxes or go out and get groceries and stuff, but maybe if you have a friend nearby, or maybe if you make a little goal to like get a certain, path, maybe get like 30% of the way through, if you make it a little game of like, okay, if I do this, I might treat myself to like a little bowl of cereal or something. If you put these, little things in front of you to help you achieve success, you're not going to feel like a wind-up mouse. You're straight up just not going to feel like a tool to yourself. You're going to feel like an asset to what you want to go achieve, because things are fun. You're doing it naturally. And when people in the future ask you, how did you get so good at this thing? How did you get so far? What did it take you to start? You can look at people and be like, I don't know. I was just having fun. It didn't feel like a big hard thing. I just took things one day at a time and enjoyed the process. And that's really the difference between what's going to make people and what's going to make you happy. I know that's kind of deep, but hopefully it didn't bog you down too much. I appreciate you watching the video. I appreciate you watching my awful basketball skills. If you're still around, you're a real one. Subscribe if you want more kind of deep talks like this. Drop a comment if you think this basketball was trash, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.